Wow, stories.
Am I the idiot for ruining my friendship with Ryan to prioritize my unemployed girlfriend? Hi, I am trying to figure out what is a fair arrangement for both my friend, my girlfriend/partner, and myself. My friend Ryan and I are looking at buying a house together, 50/50ths. A friend of mine, Jack, 30 years old, is going to move into one of the rooms and be a tenant. Ryan and I agreed that we would split the rent from Jack between us, 50/50ths. This is consistent with what Ryan and I discussed when we first considered buying a place together. Everyone who moves into the house pays rent, and all the rent gets split 50/50ths. Ryan and I are pretty far along into the process of purchasing the home and have paid for inspections and things together. We have put in offers, but they have fallen through, so we are not fully committed yet. I have been dating my partner since 2021 long distance. We met during Infection 19 through a mutual friend. She lives abroad, and we've been trying to figure out how to move her here. We talk every day and have spent long periods of time together in person. Not looking for advice on the long-distance aspect of our relationship. Ideally, I would have bought this place, and she was planning to buy a place in her home country that she could rent out while she was with me to help with some income for her. Ryan has known about my girlfriend and her eventual plan to move in. In fact, the houses we have picked out have had that arrangement in mind. We expected this to happen in less than a year. I cannot afford a house on my own in my city in Australia if that matters. Here's the wrench. My girlfriend just lost her job and wants to accelerate her plans to move here with me. We think it will take somewhere between 45 days and 3 months now for the move. I am thrilled because we have been trying to get to this point for some time. The struggle is that, understandably, she has insisted that we discuss what our financial living arrangements will be in more detail. In this discussion, I informed her that per my agreement with Ryan, she would have to pay rent, and that the rent would be split between Ryan and myself. If she is not working when she first comes, she will just pay us back for the unpaid rent when she does start working. She thinks this is unfair to her. She is not renting a separate room in the house, but will be sharing my space with me. True. She argues that she is not another roommate. Also true. We are planning to get engaged as soon as she gets here. Also, she has been trying to buy a house herself because she says it's important to her to not be renting her whole life. Unfortunately, with her lost income and the pending moving costs, she cannot afford a house in her home country. We also could not afford a house together in my much more expensive city with just the two of us. When she moves here, she believes that instead of rent, she should pay a share of my part of the mortgage that is proportionate to her income relative to mine. She thinks that whatever portion of the principal is paid off with her payments should be her equity interest in the place if we break up. For example, say my part of the mortgage is $2,000. If we both make the same amount, we would both pay $1,000. If only 10% of that was going to pay off the principal, then for her $1,000 payment, she would get $100 in equity. She says she does not expect to be able to force a sale of the house or anything, but would just hope that I would pay her that amount back if I could, or if Ryan and I decided to sell. Because of visas and things, she will not have any income for at least the first 3 months of her time here. In her industry, she does have high earning potential, and her last salary was comparable, if not more than mine. It is unclear, though, if she will be able to continue in that career when she comes here. She says her problem with the arrangement I have with Ryan is that if she is just renting, she is not investing her money. She argues that if she is forced to rent, then she will save up to buy her own place and move out rather than stay in the house I'm trying to buy for us. I do not think Ryan will agree to her not paying rent, since this is different from our arrangement we had discussed. I feel like when we are married, my girlfriend's spouse will be entitled to half of my interest in the house anyway. So why rock the boat with Ryan now? A one-bedroom rent is also much less than her portion of the mortgage could be. What is the answer? I want to be fair to Ryan, my girlfriend, and of course myself. Now, for a few comments before the update. Comment 1. This whole situation is a mess and is more likely to destroy your relationship with your girlfriend and Ryan than anything else. Put off buying a home and focus more on building your relationship with your girlfriend. She is literally changing countries and won't be able to work for an unknown amount of time. Your relationship will absolutely undergo growing pains as it shifts from long distance to living together and seeing each other every day. And you may easily find that it doesn't work out at all. Adding in a business partner as a third wheel to your relationship is just going to complicate things. Comment 2. Buying a house with a friend when you're in this serious of a romantic relationship doesn't add up. Rethink your priorities and find a way to make them clear. Communicate and over-communicate in your expectations with everyone. Don't assume people's feelings. Talk it out and negotiate like the adults you all are. This is a big commitment you're stepping into. Now for the update. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with me through this journey. So, things have taken quite a turn since I last updated you. After my girlfriend lost her job, she managed to expedite her visa process and arrived here in just over a month. I was ecstatic to finally have her with me, but the financial and living arrangements quickly became a point of contention. Ryan and I had already put down a deposit on a house, and Jack was set to move in as our tenant. Everything seemed to be falling into place, but the reality of our situation hit hard once my girlfriend arrived. From the moment she stepped off the plane, it was clear she was stressed about her financial situation. We had several heated discussions about how we would manage our finances. She was adamant that she shouldn't have to pay rent like a tenant, given that she was sharing my space and not occupying a separate room. I understood her point, but I also had to consider my agreement with Ryan. Ryan was initially open to discussing a different arrangement, but he quickly grew frustrated with the back and forth. He felt that we were trying to change the terms of our agreement at the last minute, and he wasn't wrong. We had agreed that everyone who lived in the house would pay rent, and that rent would be split 50/50ths between us. Changing that now felt like moving the goalposts. One night, after another argument with my girlfriend, I sat down with Ryan to try and find a compromise. We discussed the possibility of my girlfriend paying a reduced rent until she found a job, but Ryan was concerned about setting a precedent. He worried that if we made an exception for her, it could lead to more complications down the line. He also pointed out that we were already taking a risk by buying a house together, and adding more variables to the mix could jeopardize our investment. Feeling stuck with a big decision, I proposed a temporary solution. My girlfriend would pay a nominal rent amount until she found a job, at which point we would reassess the situation. Ryan reluctantly agreed, but it was clear he wasn't happy about it. My girlfriend, on the other hand, was still dissatisfied. She felt that even a nominal rent was unfair, given that she was contributing to our household in other ways. As the weeks went by, tensions continued to rise. My girlfriend struggled to find a job in her field, and the financial strain began to take a toll on our relationship. She felt isolated and unsupported, and I felt torn between my commitment to her and my agreement with Ryan. The stress of this situation started to affect my work, and I found myself constantly on edge. Then, things took a turn for the worse. Jack, our tenant, overheard one of our arguments and decided he didn't want to move into a house with so much tension. He backed out at the last minute, leaving us scrambling to find a new tenant. This put even more pressure on our finances, and Ryan was furious. He blamed me for the situation, arguing that if we had stuck to our original plan, none of this would have happened. In the midst of all this chaos, my girlfriend and I had a heart-to-heart conversation. She confessed that she felt like she was losing herself in this situation. She had always been independent and self-sufficient, and now she felt like a burden. She also admitted that she was having second thoughts about our future together. The stress of our financial situation was making her question whether we were truly compatible. Hearing this was like a punch to the gut. I realized that in trying to please everyone, I had ended up pleasing no one. My relationship with Ryan was strained. My girlfriend was unhappy, and I was miserable. I knew I had to make a hard choice. After much soul-searching, I decided to prioritize my relationship with my girlfriend. I told Ryan that I needed to step back from our house-buying plans. He was understandably upset, but he also saw the writing on the wall. We agreed to dissolve our partnership and go our separate ways. It was a painful decision, but it felt like the only way to salvage my relationship. In the aftermath, my girlfriend and I moved into a small apartment together. It's not the dream home we had envisioned, but it's a start. We're still working through our issues, but at least we're doing it together. Ryan and I are no longer on speaking terms, which is a tough pill to swallow. I lost a friend in the process, and that's something I'll have to live with. Looking back, I realized that I should have been more upfront with both Ryan and my girlfriend from the beginning. Trying to juggle everyone's expectations was a recipe for disaster. I learned the hard way that sometimes you have to make tough choices and accept the consequences.